Hey, how's it going? My name is Mark and this is our channel Family Builds. Today we just built this custom cubby bench for our neighbors. So I'm going to show you guys how to build this, and if you're interested in videos about woodworking, about travel, or about the cutest little twins in the world, then I highly recommend you like this video, follow, subscribe. Everything that I use in this video will be linked down below, and I'll also go over the materials and some tips and tricks as we go. But super simple, as long as you don't use the methods that we used for painting. But in all honesty, it's a pretty quick project, and it's very sturdy, and hopefully our neighbors like it. So if you're interested in building this, keep watching. Alright, so this is going to be what we're building today. I just built these little boxes just for like visual help, because we're going to have the little 13-inch square boxes go in there. But it's going to be 43 inches long, about 14 inches deep, about 16 inches tall. When you add a cushion on that, it'll be a little bit taller. So again, I like this because I can go ahead and click this piece of wood and measure it, make sure I have my cuts exact, and it just kind of helps me keep an idea. So that's going to be 3'7" and let's see, 1'2.5" inches. So I'm going to go ahead and write down all these cuts so I can bring them into the shop with me and not have to question it a bunch. Alright, so what I was doing there was I just cut the bottom plate out of plywood, made it sure it was the exact length. That length matters to me the most right now because the width of the cubbies that I'll be using are like 13 inches. It's just like the standard cubbies that come from like Target, Walmart, anything like that. So to get this exactly so that the cubbies fit, and they each have about 1/4 inch of clearance, I want to make sure that this bottom plate right here was all cut to size. This guy right here is just an extra support plate. It's just going to go underneath. It'll kind of keep the cubby from tipping forward. Our neighbors have a young kid as well, so we don't want it to become a jungle gym. So this will add weight to it, and it was about an 1/8 of an inch, maybe even a 1/16 of an inch over. So what I was doing was taking the piece of wood, pushing it up against the blade while it was down, lifting up the blade, and then cutting. Basically all that does is it cuts the smallest amount off. Hopefully you can see it in the video. Literally just takes off like a sliver. So I like to cut a little bit big and then slowly cut down to the actual size that I need, because if you screw up and you cut something too short, you have to completely recut the piece, which I did for the plywood. So now I have what used to be the bottom plate as a scrap piece of plywood. It was just like 1/2 inch too short, but like I said, the bottom plate's length is the most important to me because that will determine the width of all the cubbies. So I've got this all good to go. Bottom plate, support. Next thing to do is to cut the plywood sides. These will be 3/4 inch, just so it's a little bit more stable on the sides. So I gotta cut the sides, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drill it all together so I'll have a base down, and just keep going from there.
Backlash written on me, card robbing on a glass bowl. I've been ballin', free my ladies in the counter now. I'm already out, already on the countdown. I'ma set it right. Got the backlash written on me, cold running from the pole, and it's on me. Don't know which way we're going now, I don't wanna know it. Might as well be going down, I don't wanna know it. I got the backlash written on me, card robbing on a glass bowl.
Alright, so real quickly, all I was doing there is just marking out spots for pocket holes. I want them to be on the underside of this bottom board, and then just on these side panels. So it's going to be 3 per side of board, and I wanted them to be at least 1.5 inches away from the edges, so I was just marking that point. The middle doesn't really matter too much to me because I'm going to be filling it and sanding it down, so you won't see the holes anyways. It's just for support wise. So we go ahead and drill all these pocket holes, get these set up onto this board, and then assemble the whole bottom half then measure out the top piece just in case it's a little bit different than SketchUp. And we should be like 80% done once we get there, and we'll just have to throw on a back panel and paint and prime it, so that'll be fun.
3 more ladies in the counter now, I'm already out. Already on the countdown, I'ma set it right. Got the backlash written on me, cold running from the po-po, and it's on me.
Alright, so what I'm doing here is I took a 90-degree device thingy like this, I don't know what it's called, and clamped it to my two pieces. I've got my quick square here, just to double check to make sure everything's good to go. That's good there. I made sure the front is flush. This is going to be my front. And I'm going to go ahead and drill these two. And this should work perfectly. If it doesn't, I will let you know, and we will figure out a fix. But I'm going to go ahead and put in these first couple screws while this is like this.
Don't know which way we're going now, I don't wanna know it. Might as well be going down, I don't wanna know it. Yeah, come and get it, clock it ticking for my riches now. Yeah boy, counting commas in my kitchen now. Yeah right, Colorado ain't my region now. But now I'm headed out there anyhow. Set it out like I'm headed out for the big amount. Shoot it out like I'm heading up for the pictures now. How many people could do it the way I did it now? I really mean it, I feel like the only one around. Whoa, while I'm at it, I ain't kidding.
Alright, so after some fun little 90-degree jigs, this bottom part is done. We're gonna use a little putty to fill up these pocket hole screws. Overall, it's going pretty well. Having Kelly help me was huge, so it's always fun having her out here. Alright, so all we gotta do right now is cut out the top of this, and to do that, we're gonna go ahead and put it on the table saw. So it's gonna be 43.5 inches long and 14 inches deep like the rest of it. Going to brad nail and glue the side pieces and pocket hole the center panels. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that. I'm also gonna cut some 13-inch spacers, or 13.5-inch spacers, so that way we can make sure that the panels are completely straight and not off by any means. So
I ain't kidding, I won't have it. Try and wait for me to slip, I ain't no Bambi. I'll be center in a rink on Joey Sackage. And when you see me, I just came out with the hat trick. Oh God, don't be stressing with the magic. Acting out cause you ain't never seen no rabbits. All them bunnies, they be helping me imagine how I tell them that the man has got the backlash written on me. Caught robbing on a glass bowl, I've been ballin'. 3 more ladies in the counter now, I'm already out. Already on the countdown, I'ma set it right. Got the backlash written on me, cold running from the po-po, and it's on me. Don't know which way we're going now, I don't wanna know it. Might as well be going down, I don't wanna know it.
Alright, so all screwed and good to go. Just need to wipe off this glue now, so that way we have less cleanup.
I'ma set it right. Got the backlash written on me, cold running from the po-po, and it's on me. Don't know which way we're going now, I don't wanna know it. Might as well be going down, I don't wanna know it.
Alright, real quick, forgot, before we put on this backboard, we're actually going to put this on last after we paint it and everything. So I'm going to put on some plastic wood. It's just a filler. It's going to go on each of these little pocket hole screws. And then might throw in a little bit on the edge back here, but we might not need to. And then once this stuff dries, or while this is drying, we're also going to throw on some edge banding. This stuff's super easy. You just iron it onto the front here. Do some here and here and down here. So the whole front face is going to get edge banding, and that's just easy. You just iron it on. Luckily our neighbor had an iron, we can't find ours. So you can go ahead and do the plastic wood, then iron, and then we'll sand it up, just the spots that we put plastic wood on, and prime and paint.
I don't wanna know it. I got the
Alright, so real quick, we already started, kind of forgot, but we're putting this stuff on called joint compound from Dex. I saw it on I think Pinterest, where it says putting the stuff on, then sanding it off. Just makes the paint look a lot more professional, so we're going to go ahead and try it. If it doesn't do incredible things, probably won't do it again, because it is a lot of scraping and a lot of extra work. So maybe overkill, but hopefully it looks good. If it does look good, it'll be worth it, so I'm going to keep scraping. Alright, it's 5 in the morning, which means it's the perfect time to do woodworking because the kids are asleep and they shouldn't be waking up for another at least 2 hours. So I'm going to go ahead, give this guy a quick sand. You don't typically sand plywood, but with this joint compound, you're supposed to lightly sand it off. According to what I read, it's still supposed to be some light white spots, so you're not like digging into the wood. You never want to sand through plywood. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a try, and we'll see how this works. I've never sanded plywood before, so wish me luck.
Backlash written on me, card robbing on a glass bowl. I've been balling, free my ladies in the counter now. I'm already out, already on the countdown.
One more quick tip before I get started. Tack cloths. So Steve Ramsey on his woodworking site recommended using tack cloths. Used it for the first time on like one of our first few projects, and they are incredible. There is so much small dust and dirt that you don't see that tack cloths really pull off, which is awesome because if you're doing a like clear white or a clear paint color, you might not necessarily see as much on stain, but if you're doing a clear color and you have a bunch of dust particles that come off down the road, that'll be very obvious. So tack cloths are awesome. You can go ahead and tack cloth the whole thing, and then
Countdown, I'ma set it right. Got the backlash written on me, cold running from the popo, and it's on me. Don't know which way we're going now, I don't wanna know it. Might as well be going down, I don't wanna know it. I got the backlash written on me, card robbing on a glass bowl. I've been balling, free my ladies in the counter now. I'm already out, already on the countdown, I'ma set it right. Backlash written on me, cold running from the popo, and it's on me. Don't know which way we're going now, I don't wanna know it. Might as well be going down, I don't wanna know it. Yeah, come and get.
So currently we're painting, and next we gotta put on some finish that'll really make it pop and keep the wood protected. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that right now.
Yeah, boy, counting commas in my kitchen now. Yeah, right, Colorado ain't my region now. But now I'm headed out there.
I'm gonna do this while Kel's actually doing the finish, but it is insanely hot out here. I think the camera's actually fogging up too. Kelly did 2 coats of paint, and then now we're just throwing on the finish. Just this interior finish, Behr thing, ultimate water-based. Crystal clear matte. This is important because we originally used the Behr thing on an indoor project on white paint, and it came out kind of yellow. So this stuff's ultra clear, meant for interior. So this stuff will work really well. We're gonna do 2 coats of this. Kelly's going, yeah, light sanding in between with like 400 grit, just to get any like spots that are kind of blotchy, and then do a very fine last coat, and then we'll put it on the back panel, and this will be done.
Why don't you just flip the thing over and nail it?
It's difficult. This is difficult. Accuracy. Family builds. Let me get it. Little dust particle on my lens. Do it. You just keep on trucking along, my little worker bee.
flash written on me, card rubbing on a glass bowl. I've been ballin'. Free my ladies in the counter now. I'm already out, already on the countdown. I'ma set it right.